So we will continue the session. Next, in the forward bias, so we are discussing two facts about the PN junction bias. In the forward bias, in the forward bias, the PN junction diode, will be in switch on position. So because it conducts more current, so that's why we will call it as switch on position. And in the reverse bias, so the PN junction will be in switch off position. So therefore, PN junction diode also acts as a switch. And in forward bias, the current, so that is the current due to the majority charge carriers, that is diffusion current. Diffusion current is in the order of milliamperes. So in the reverse bias of PN junction diode, so we have drift current. That is in the order of microampere. Now here we will see how the PN junction diode acts as half a wave. Now we are going to see junction diode as half a rectifier. Junction diode half a rectifier. So here in the construction we are taking, so input is some AC source we will take, and this is a transformer. So this transformer is connected. This transformer is connected to a PN junction diode. And in every circuit, generally we are having a resistance that is called as load resistance. And the first one, this is called as P means primary and S means secondary. So we have two lines. So these two parallel lines will represent that the secondary coil is under the influence of primary coil. So we have great mutual induction, and the transformer works fine. So the parallel lines indicates that the secondary coil is under the influence of primary coil. So now we will understand the functioning of the this half wave rectifier. So in the generally we are taking some AC source. So generally we will get a sinusoidal wave like structure. For example, if I am taking, this is the input. For example, if I am taking, this is the input. So now we are going to study about the output. So first we will think of the positive half cycle. So first we are thinking of positive half cycle. So this is because of diode D. Let us say the diode. So positive half cycle means, so generally during positive half cycle, at location of D, we have positive potential. So this is the speciality of the transformer. So that is, so whenever the positive potential is given, so during positive half cycle, so we will maintain positive potential at D. So then when the positive is given to PN junction diode, so definitely it will act as forward bias. Therefore, the diode will connect some electricity. So therefore, so we have the output current. So this is positive. So simply we are taking, this is input AC. We are taking, and this is output DC. So during the negative half cycle, So during the negative half cycle, so what happens is at the location of diode, the transformer maintains negative potential. So when a negative potential is given to this diode, so actually it will be in reverse bias. So in the reverse bias, ideal p-n junction diode, it will conduct zero current. So that's why we have the current in the absent position. So while we think of the output DC, so while we think of output DC, this will be the output DC and this will be the input AC. So similarly, again during the next positive half cycle, so the diode will conduct because it is in forward bias. And again during the next negative half cycle, it will do not conduct current. It will do not conduct. So first we need to understand the meaning of rectifier. So rectifier means, so it is a device which converts AC current, into DC current, And one more important thing we are going to study is, suppose if we are taking F is the frequency of input. So that means this is the time period actually. This is the time period. Here you can see in the time period only we have one wave for input. And similarly, only we have one wave for output. So therefore, if the input is F, so the output is also F. F is the frequency of output we are taking. F is the frequency of output. So generally, one important thing is the output voltage always measured across RL. Output voltage always measured across RL. So that is an important relation here. So we will call this is the not perfectly pure DC. This is called as pulsating DC. So pulsating DC, because the current increases and as well as decreases. So here, so we need to remember for half wave rectifier some factors. For half wave rectifier, we are taking average output in one cycle. From the integration, we will obtain these values and taking the output DC equivalent to I0 by I. I0 is nothing but this is the maximum current, and VDC also we are having V output by I. So here the secondary means output. So this means we will take it as output, and this primary means input we will consider. So in the output you will see we have two resistors. So one we have the resistance U2. So we will say RF. RF already we know that. So that is the forward bias resistance of the diode and as well as RF. So now I'm taking where the I0, the maximum current equivalent to VO by RF plus RL. So here RF means forward bias resistance. So this is forward bias resistance, and as well as RL means load resistance. Forward bias resistance of the diode actually. And RL is load resistance here. And also by taking the integration, we are going to obtain the following thing. So that is for half wave rectifier, in the chapter AC circuits also we will study the IRMS is equivalent to I0 by 5, I0 by 2, and VRMS equivalent to V0 by 2. Generally, we used to study about RMS current in AC circuits, and here we need some important factors for the advanced, especially not for me. Form factor. It's a definition. So generally, a form factor equivalent to, we will write IRMS by IDC. IRMS by IDC. So IRMS means we are taking for a half wave rectifier. I am taking, so therefore I naught by 2, I naught by 2, and already just we learned IDC equivalent to I naught by 5. So that equivalent to pi by 2, that will be equal to 1.7. So, and also we have one thing, that is ripple factor. So these two are very famous. Ripple factor. So generally we used to denote it as small r. So that equivalent to IAC by IDC. We have a standard relation for that one is IRMS by IDC whole square minus 5. By substituting that values, we will get 1.21. 1.21. So this we need to remember. So after this one, here the important formula is efficiency. Efficiency is important. Efficiency is equivalent to, simply we will write power output by power input. By solving that we will get 0.406 into RL by RF plus RL. Already we know the respective meanings. So that is, RL means load resistance, RF means forward bias resistance. Okay, this is about half wave rectifier. Now we used to think diode as full wave rectifier. Diode as full wave rectifier. Diode as full wave rectifier. So that means in this discussion, we used to take as usual the primary coil, so which is acts as a source of AC, and we have a transformer. And as similar to the previous case, we have two parallel lines. So these two parallel lines indicate the secondary coil is under the influence of primary coil we are taking. And here we have two diodes. Let us say the first one is called as diode D1 and the second one is called as diode D2. And we have a load resistance. So here present here. And we are taking a special type of transformer. So that is called as central tapping transformer. So central tapping transformer. So which is connected to. So this is called as primary and this is called as secondary. And this is nothing but input part of the device and this is called as output part of the device. So here the speciality of central tapping transformer. So the transformer that is used here is known as central tapping transformer. So its specialty is during positive cycle, the PN junction diode, at the PN junction diodes D1 and D2, we have the following potentials. So during the positive cycle, the transformer maintains a positive potential at D1 and negative potential at D2. So that means it will split the input AC. Such that for some time it will provide positive potential and sometime it will provide negative potential. So whenever we say sometime as similar to the half wave rectifier, positive is connected to PN junction diode. So therefore it is in forward bias and as well as the diode D2 will be in reverse bias. And we will focus on the next cycle, that is negative half cycle. So this is the negative cycle of input actually. Clearly speaking, for the positive half cycle of input and for the negative half cycle of input. For the negative half cycle of input. So we are taking D1 and D2. So it will alter the potential. So sometimes the D1 will be at negative and D2 will be at positive. So simply you can clearly you seen that when D1 is given with the negative potential, when D1 is given with the negative potential here, automatically D1 will be in reverse bias and D2 will be in forward bias. So from these discussions, it is very clear that in positive half cycle, the D1 conducts electricity, and in the negative half cycle, D2 conducts electricity. So that we are going to show here with the help of the respective proper diagram. So as usually, we are taking the input and as well as output. So input is AC and output is pulsating. Now we are going to show this. Suppose I'm taking this is the input AC. So this is input AC. And for the second one, we are taking output DC. Output DC. Now you can understand. So during the first positive half cycle, so the D1 is in forward bias. So therefore it will conduct the current. So that means so during the first positive half cycle, so the D1 will conduct current. Next, we are focusing on the negative half cycle of input. So that is this is the negative half cycle of input. So we will design the transformer in a special way that during the negative half cycle, D1 will be absent and D2 will current some current, and the story again going to be repeated. Suppose if we observe the situation for one full wave, so that means it completed during that time it completed one oscillation. But you can see during this time it completed two oscillations. This is one oscillation and this is another oscillation. So that means output is having double oscillations than that of input. From the diagram, it is very clear. So therefore, if we take input frequency as here, so similarly we will take output frequency as 2f we are going to see. And from this, it is very clear that the output is pulsating. So that we are going to show here. So that means the out of the input AC, the PN junction diode is fully rectifying. That means it was converting into DC. But the DC is pulsating. And we need to understand some important parameters like as in the previous case. Okay. So we are taking average output in one cycle. Average output in one cycle is IDC is equivalent to 2 I0 by pi, and VDC is equivalent to 2 V0 by. Whereas I0 already we know this output voltage by the total resistance, that is Rx plus RL we are taking. Okay. And also we will think of for RMS output. So generally these things we will learn in AC circuit. IRMS equivalent to I0 by root 2 and the VRMS equivalent to V0 by. And also we will see form factor and as well as ripple factor. Suppose I'm taking form factor. So form factor means its definition is so IRMS by IDC. So that equal to pi by 2 root 2 you are going to have. So that will be equal to 1.5. And next one is ripple factor. Ripple factor. You can symbolize it as smaller. So that equivalent to IAC by IDC, or that equivalent to root of IRMS by IDC whole square minus 1 whole square minus 1. So that will be 0.48. 0.48. And at the end, we are taking efficiency. Efficiency is equivalent to our output by our input we are taking. It will be 0.812 into RF by 0.812 into RL by RF plus RL. So we know RL is the load resistance, and as well as RF is the forward bias resistance. So next we will think of Zener diode. So Zener diode is nothing but it is a junction diode. A junction diode designed to operate in reverse bias. Operate in reverse bias in the breakdown region. In the breakdown region, and used as voltage regulator. So later we will understand everything about this definition. A junction diode use it to use in operate in reverse bias. So we know that PN junction diode it will actively work in forward bias, but in the reverse bias it will not work. But the Zener diode is specially designed to work in reverse bias. So that is in the breakdown region. So breakdown means actually it is not going to break into pieces. So here we have a maximum current means. So you need to understand breakdown means we are having current maximum and used as a voltage regulator. So let us see. And we are taking another meaning of this one. So Zener diode is nothing but a highly doped PN junction diode. A highly doped PN junction diode which acts in reverse bias. Now we are seeing this symbol for the Zener diode. So we will take Z like such. So as usual, this will be the positive and this will be the negative. This will be the negative. So we are taking this is about the PN junction diode. So here we will focus that. So whenever we have more doping, so then in the previous session we have discussed that whenever the doping percentage increases, so for the high doping, so the thickness of depletion layer decreases. Thickness of depletion layer is low. So it is less than a micron, 10 power minus 6. So that means suppose if by applying a very less voltage, that is 5 volts, so even you are able to get a field which is greater than 5 into 10 power 6 volts per. So that means by applying a very little voltage also, so we are able to produce some enormous electric field. So that is the speciality of the Zener diode. So that is the speciality of the Zener diode. Now we are going to understand its functioning. So to understand its functioning, so we are taking the VI characteristics. So here I'm taking the current in milliamperes, I in milliamperes. and V voltage in volts. So this is forward bias, that is positive potential, and this is reverse bias. So we can see that the IV characteristics are very similar to PN junction diode in forward bias. So ఇది మనం రెండింటి కలిపి ఇక్కడ డిస్కస్ చేస్తాం. So this is input characteristics. IV characteristics మనం తీసుకునేటప్పుడు, so in the forward bias, Zener diode is very similar to, its character is very similar to PN junction diode. So that means almost we used to take the PN junction diode also like this. So this is PN junction diode. Almost we are having similar characteristics, no difference. So generally, this is the voltage from where we have sudden increase in current. So that is called as knee voltage. For germanium, it is 0.3 volts, and for silicon, it is 0.7. So now we are focusing on reverse bias. So here, what we are saying is, in the reverse bias, actually what happens? So we will comparatively study both PN junction diode, and as well as we will comparatively study both the systems. So that is PN junction diode and as well as Zener diode. So in the reverse bias, so let us see first for PN junction diode. So in the PN junction diode, we know that, so here I am writing, for the PN junction diode, as V is high, so the barrier field is less. The barrier field is comparatively less in comparison to the Zener diode. So therefore, the applied potential should be very high. VB should be very high to motivate the charge carriers. So whenever we will see in the reverse bias, already we know that the reverse bias will motivate the minority charge carriers. So minority charge carriers means, suppose when we think of a PN junction diode, this is P and this is N. The minority charge carriers are electrons. So the reverse bias motivates the minority charge carriers, and the minority charge carriers they undergone through the barrier. So when it was undergoing through a barrier, so it used to collide with the electrons which are fixed in valence bands, which are tightly bounded in valence bands. So then what happens is, because of their high excitation energy, so the covalent bonds breaks here. So therefore, new free electrons is emitted. So again, that emitted electron motivated by the barrier field, and then again it will undergo repeated collisions. So that means the output characteristics are, at a particular applied voltage, we will see sudden increase in current. So we will see a sudden increase in current, we are saying. So here we will see a sudden increase in current. So this is called as avalanche breakdown. So generally you need to understand that this avalanche breakdown is possible in PN junction diode. And one more important thing is, so it is possible only at a high applied voltage. So this is generally called as breakdown voltage. We used to call this as breakdown voltage. This is the breakdown voltage. Of course, we are having some numerics. If you are interested, you can remember. So this breakdown voltage for germanium is 25 volts, and for silicon it is 35 volts. So this is about the avalanche breakdown. So now we will focus only on xenon diode. So, but here we will see that as we mentioned earlier, the thickness is very low and the barrier field is more already. It is very, very high. So then it will motivate the minority charge carriers even at low voltages. As we seen just now, it will motivate the minority charge carriers even at low voltage. So therefore, so we are having breakdown at very low voltage, at very low voltage. So this is called as G0 breakdown. This is called as G0 breakdown. So the speciality of this G0 breakdown is, so this is possible even at low voltage, even at low applied voltage. So low applied voltage means whatever may be the voltage you are applying by the battery, so that we are calling it as applied voltage. So this is the difference between avalanche breakdown and G0 breakdown. Avalanche breakdown is related to PN junction diode, and G0 breakdown is related to G0 diode. So as the barrier field is less in the PN junction diode, so therefore the breakdown is possible only at very high voltages. And we are seeing the G0 diode, in the case of G0 diode, as the barrier field is enough, so therefore it will break down even at low voltages. So this is the difference between G0 diode, PN junction diode, and the respective breakdowns. Now we will see the G0 diode, how it will act as a voltage regulator. So next I am taking G0 diode. G0 diode acts as voltage regulator. G0 diode acts as voltage regulator. So we are taking. So first I am constructing the respective diagram. For example, so we will take this is the V input. V input. So we are taking a PN junction diode which is highly doped. So nothing but you are calling it as G0 diode. G0 diode. Sorry. This is connected to V input is connected to some series resistance RS, and this is connected to a highly doped PN junction diode. And parallel to this, we are connecting a load resistance, and usually we will measure the output. We will measure the output V output across load resistance. Here we need to understand this. Suppose I am taking the total current as I, the current passing through the G0 current as Iz, and this is I. So the most important relation is I equivalent to Iz plus IL. I equivalent to Iz plus IL. And also, so this V input. So we know that the breakdown voltage is Vz. Suppose breakdown voltage is Vz. Suppose if I am taking the Vz is G0 breakdown voltage. G0 breakdown voltage. So then we will see that this G0 diode and as well as load resistance both are parallel to each other. So Vz equivalent to IL into RL, or IL equivalent to Vz by RL. So this is one relation. This is load current equivalent to Vz by RL. And also we will say that, so suppose if you apply the Kirchhoff voltage law only up to for this part, only for the first mesh, only for this, so we will get V in equivalent to V input equivalent to, so that is V input equivalent to, suppose I am taking the main current as I into okay. So that means for our convenience to understand the relation for IZ and I and IL. So we are converting the Zener diode into the following diagram. So we will see that the current I is treated as IZ and IL. So therefore the current I is treated as IZ and IL. So we are, for our convenience, we are rewriting the situation, and this is the input. And across the load, we used to measure output. So from this equation, we know that IL equal to VZ by RL, and I equivalent IZ plus IL. So that means from equation 1, we are writing IZ equivalent to I minus IL. I means the series current, the current passing through the series resistance. So therefore, I'm taking the potential difference across the series resistance as V input minus V by series resistance Rs minus Vz by Rs. So this is very important. So generally in this year we have main questions majorly from this formula Iz. So from this Iz. And here we need to understand that V input equivalent to, just now we have seen I into Rs plus Vz. Suddenly, if the V input increases, now what we are seeing is how the Zener diode acts as voltage regulator. How the Zener diode acts as voltage regulator. ఎలా పనిచేస్తుందని మనం చూస్తాం. Suppose all of a sudden if input voltage increases in our home, so then what happens is, so then according to its design, so we have more current passing through the, obviously when the input is high, more current will be passed. So when the more current pass will be passed through the circuit, so then more voltage drop occurs at the series resistance. And finally, the VZ is remains as constant. Suppose if in V input is low, so anyways the VZ remains as constant, and that loss was compensated by the potential drop across the series resistance. అంటే ఇన్పుట్ పెరిగితే ఆ పెరిగింది సిరీస్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ తీసుకుంటాం, ఇన్పుట్ తగ్గితే ఆ తగ్గిన దాన్ని కూడా సిరీస్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ బేస్ చేస్తుంది. సో ఫైనల్ అవర్ ఫైనల్ ఎయిమ్ ఈస్ we need to, we are interested to keep the VZ as constant. So that is about the Zener diode.